showing you a quick way I fix my gel extensions when they pop off and a quick little tip at the end of how I fix them if they start to pull my hair. At the same time, I'm going to be telling you a short little story time about something so embarrassing that happened to me while I was at work. Until this day, I will never forget it. I'm gonna start off by shaving and sizing the nail for this finger and showing you right here some of the products I will be using. I will also be leaving the name on the screen, kind of along the video to tell you what I'm doing in the step. So to start off, I want to say this happened maybe about 4 to 5 years ago. It was one of my very first jobs. So I was kind of young at that time, and I really didn't know much about, work policies and stuff like that. I eventually started in a business that was kind of ran by family. So it was a lot different versus starting in an actual job. And in this particular situation, I had already been working there for several months and we were approaching holiday season. So we are usually behind the counter, we are with food. It's not a restaurant, it's more of a factory where you put in the big orders and you go and shop for some of the hot food they create on a daily basis. During this time, we were doing big orders for other restaurants and we were doing deliveries, but we also had over stock, kind of like the things that we were doing in the back for big orders. So we were selling them kind of like a convenience store, but not as the same. We sold way less stuff and just kind of food things. So during this time, it is known that there was going to be food all over, which means there was going to be food on the floors and it was going to be everywhere because of the amount that of orders that we had to fulfill. So we had to clean everything a little bit extra. So during these days that are closer to the holidays, we are starting to see that there is a lot more people coming in. So they eventually ended up, because at that time I was the only one in the store, eventually they ended up bringing a second person to help out. And then we had the person in the morning that was doing the morning shift that was a little bit slower. And in the afternoon, it was two of us. So during this time, we started to see that there was a lot of crumbs and a lot of food kind of spread everywhere in the mornings. So we didn't really think anything of it at that time. We just thought maybe there was leftover food that didn't get properly cleaned the day before, because not we would not always work the same schedule. So a lot of the times it was different people in the morning, different people in the afternoon. And when we started noticing this, we would tell the rest of the people that worked there just to kind of keep an eye on it. And it kind of stopped. So when it stopped, we thought, okay, maybe it was just a 1 day thing. It was nothing major. So over the course of the week, we start to notice the crumbs again. And it only happened in the mornings. And then eventually, as we're starting to see this throughout the week, we start to see that they're appearing throughout the day. So we're kind of a little bit confused as to what's going on. And we do have cameras at the time in this spot, which was the counter spot in the front and the tables in the back that were kind of like the working stations. So the owner goes through the cameras and it was a little too dark to see. So we were like, okay, we're going to keep an eye on it. And during this one particular day, only one of us stayed in the afternoon because it got really slow and we didn't have that much food left over to sell. So we were anticipating there wasn't really going to be much work at that point. Later on through the afternoon, I was the only one working there. I had to close the shift out and the store. And as the day is going by, I'm noticing, like, okay, there is something weird going on. I'm seeing crumbs all over the floor. And oh my God, I noticed there was something moving under the counter where we have like the bags and some rolls of paper and all that stuff. And I call the person in the back who was staying to clean up to come help me see what was going on. Not gonna lie, I was scared. I'm scared of rodents. I'm scared of like any kind of big animal. So especially if it's like rats and mouses like that. So I ended up calling him over to the front, and we don't see anything. So we're kind of like, okay, maybe it was nothing. A couple seconds later, we start to hear it again, and at this time he was already making his way back to the front, so I just waited for him. When he gets to the front, he was bringing in some boxes, so he was just like, let me just stand here and see if I hear it. I kid you not, a couple seconds later, a big, huge rat comes running across the floor. And I can't even tell you the size of this thing because I had never seen something so big until that moment. And I was automatically scared. I was not gonna be there until it was catched. So I was like, no, someone call somebody because I'm not gonna be here if that thing is in here. I'm the only one here, and he was about to leave. So we closed the door and we ended up calling the son of the guy who was the owner of the place, and he came in and he was like, okay, like, let's close the door. We don't have really anything, anyways, at this moment. So we tried to catch this thing, or he tried to catch this thing by putting one of the traps in the corner of the door. But needless to say, we were not able to catch that thing by the closing time, which was like 30 minutes later. So we leave, we close everything, and we're like praying for the best for the next day. Fast forward to the next day when I come in the afternoon, and the girl from the morning starts to tell me that this rodent has been in there messing with them all day, and they have not been able to catch it or get it out somehow. And keep in mind, they're still with open doors. They had not closed those doors. And in my head, I'm just like, we have to close it because if someone comes in here and that is around here and they see it, there's so many things that could go wrong. We are a food place, and it is so embarrassing at that. So we couldn't close the doors. I was told not to do it. I was told to just follow the day, how it's gonna go as daily. When I tell you, I had never been so scared at work until that day. And at this time, there's people coming in and going out. Someone comes in and they are picking up some kind of order from a restaurant. Yes. And they had kind of came in a little bit later than usual because it was some new person that was picking it up. So I tell them, okay, I'm gonna go get it. Stay with me right here for a bit. And I ran to the back to go get it. When I come to the front, the first thing this person says is, there is a rat somewhere down your feet. And I froze. I was so embarrassed. I did not know what to tell this guy. And keep in mind too that at this time I'm young. I This is kind of my first job kind of thing. So, and I'm the only one there. So, I had to apologize, and I was so embarrassed the entire transaction. And he could tell, and I could tell that he was also embarrassed as well for me. So during that transaction, I'm just embarrassed. There's really nothing I can do. So I just apologize to him and carry on. Come to find out later on, He actually called the health department. He actually called the health department because they ended up, at that time, it was like a Thursday or a Friday. They ended up coming in that Monday. And I found out when I came in that Tuesday because I didn't go in on Monday. It was so embarrassing when he brought it up. And this is a regular customer, it's a regular business that does contracts and, a lot of purchases from us on the regular. So I had never been so embarrassed in my entire life of something that wasn't even my fault to begin with. And then if you got fast forward to Tuesday, when I come in, this lady that works in the back comes in to show me a picture of how they ended up catching this animal in the back. And oh my God, it has been one of the most disgusting things I have ever seen at work. And it's a smaller business, so over time, people that come in are kind of regulars. The word the word spread so fast on how there was a rat in there and that we had animals and pests in there. And every single day that someone would come in, and most of them were pretty much just dailies, I was so embarrassed. Every single person that came in there was telling me about this. I didn't even know what to do. I didn't even know what to say when someone was just coming in. I automatically knew. So that left me so traumatized. Everywhere I go now, I literally look and see everywhere, and I am scared to ever get another shift in the afternoon where I'm the only one closing. Till this day, that's just one of the most embarrassing stories ever to me. And I wonder sometimes if things just happen to me or if they happen to everybody, because I don't really know anybody who's had half of the things that happen to me happen to them. It's just really crazy, and a lot of these things are out of control for you. And if your employer's not willing to do anything about them, you can't really do anything about them yourself. So it's so crazy. I've had so many other more experiences that are bad and embarrassing happen to me out of work and at work. And it's just things that are kind of like you never think they happen to you until they actually happen to you. So eventually, hopefully, I want to do more story times and find more entertaining content to put out. A lot of the things that, happen in my life, I feel like it would be like a good thing to share for the rest. But nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed this little short video. As far as for that quick tip I was going to give at the end of the video for nails that are pulling your hair, and this doesn't apply only to gel extensions. If you look at the video, I am applying it on the last pinky finger. This nail was a nail that I ended up accidentally gluing back on last minute and not really redoing it how I showed the other one in the beginning of the video. So it started to pull my hair. But I do this with even acrylics. I get a top coat, usually the ones that are cured by the UV lamp, and I put at least 2 to 3 coats on top to make sure that the edges are sealed to the nail. It also helps it last longer before it pops off. And this works for me for both gel nails and acrylics. And a lot of the times, acrylics are the ones who pull my hair most of the time. And this has been such a problem solver for that. So, that's a quick little tip in case you didn't know about it. Since I didn't know about it, hopefully, if you come across this video, you learned something from me on every single time. But thank you so much for watching this video, and until the next one, bye.